Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today we will solve John's number of the beast, and by default, explore the geometry of the hypercube. We will begin this presentation with some prerequisite background information on Hermetic philosophy in order to orient your mind on the subject at hand. There are two main categories of Hermetic teachings. On the left of your slide, the first main category is the technical Hermetica. This category includes technical writings on subjects such as astrology, alchemy, pharmacology, and magic. These technical writings range from the beginning of Hermetic philosophy around 300 BCE until around 1300 CE. Now, this main category in itself can be subcategorized into the Hellenic, Greco-Egyptian, and Greco-Roman era Hermetica, which ranges from circa 300 BCE to 400 CE. And secondly, the Arabic Hermetica, which dates from around 100 CE to about 1000 CE. Now, of particular significance within the Arabic collection is where we first find the text of the Emerald Tablet, dating around the 8th century CE. This is the Emerald Tablet that most people think of when referring to the Emerald Tablet. However, it often gets confused with the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, which was published by Dr. Dorio in the 1950s, and is in itself an excellent work in regard to Hermeticism. Now, Latin texts from the 14th century claim that the Emerald Tablet was discovered by Alexander the Great in the tomb of Hermes in a cave near Hebron. Those texts claim that the Emerald Tablet was written in Phoenician and began with the great Hermetic axiom, true without error, certain and most true, that which is above is as that which is below, that which is below is as that which is above. Now, shifting your focus to the right of your slide, there is a second main category of Hermetica, which is called the religio-philosophical Hermetica. This category has a much shorter time span, ranging from 100 to 300 CE, and nests within the time frame of the technical Hermetica. In this category, we find the Corpus Hermeticum and his most famous work, the Divine Pymander. Now notice that the religio-philosophical category exactly corresponds with the formative years of Christianity. Given this, it would be foolish to think that Hermetic teachings did not blend into early Christian teachings, and true to form, we can find such evidence. Firstly, with the discovery of a trove of Hermetic, Platonic, Gnostic, and Christian teachings within the 1945 Nag Hammadi discovery, and secondly, within the New Testament itself. In fact, we can find at least two books that are almost, if not entirely, Hermetic. The first being The Shepherd of Hermes or Hermes, also known as the Good Shepherd, which is dated around 100 to 150 CE. This book was one of the most popular, if not the most popular book among Orthodox Christians and the Christian Church from 200 to 400 CE. However, in modern times, it has been relegated to the Catholic Apocrypha. The second Christian work that is swimming in Hermeticism is the Book of Revelation, which is the final book of the New Testament. John's Revelation features many motifs found within early Hermeticism, to include the crystalline sea, the old man on the throne, and so much more. And even above this, notice that the systematic study of Christianity itself is called hermeneutics. This is the ultimate tell that Christianity is fundamentally Hermetic in nature. However, this presentation is not about Christianity as a whole, but rather John's infamous number of the beast. And so from here, we will focus on this singular topic. So if we are to understand the number of the beast, we must first understand the beast. Now in Revelation 13, the first thing we notice is that there are two beasts, one which arises out of the abyss and another that comes out of the earth. And sandwiched right in between these passages about the first beast and the second beast is the passage about the call for the preservation and faith of the saints. Now, we can easily get lost in the details of these passages, but taken in its totality, you have a beast above and a beast below, and a call for the faith and perseverance of the saints in the middle. Ladies and gentlemen, this entire passage is Hermetic and includes the Hermetic motto of as above, so below, as well as the core Hermetic doctrine of destiny. Next, I'd like you to notice the motif of rising out of the sea. Well, wouldn't you know it, this is the exact motif of the earlier Greek mythology about the birth of the island of Patmos from the bottom of the sea, which happens to be the same island where John wrote his Revelation. In the Greek version, Artemis and Apollo convinced Zeus to raise Patmos from the abyss. The sun dried it and brought life to the island. Now, let's take a look at some of the individual components of these passages. So, taking a look at Revelation 13:1, which says, "Then I saw a beast with 10 horns and 7 heads rising out of the sea. There were 10 royal crowns on its horns and blasphemous names on its heads." Now, in Revelation 13:3, one of the heads of the beast appeared to be mortally wounded, but the mortal wound was healed, and the whole world marveled and followed the beast. Now, this is obviously not literal. So without a symbolic key, this can never be solved. So here is the symbolic key, and it is the Pythagorean tetractys. This is the beast with 10 horns and 7 heads. The 10 heads are the dots that represent the numbers 1 through 10. The 7 horns are the central dots that form the hypercube. And the 1 head that was wounded and healed is the central dot or pivot of the hypercube. Here is the beast, and it is called man, and it is a reflection of the heavens. However, John goes on to tell you in Revelation 13:2, quote, "The beast I saw was like a leopard with the feet of a bear and the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. They worshiped the dragon who had given authority to the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, 'Who is like the beast, and who can wage war against it?'" These passages tell you that the dragon is superior to the beast. Now tonight I want you to look towards the North Star, and what you will see is the constellation Draco, which is the dragon encircling this star. In fact, if you expand your aperture outward, you can see the entire description of the first beast within the constellations of Camelopardalis, which is the leopard, Ursa Major the bear, and Leo the lion. Revelation 13 goes on to say that the beast was given a mouth to speak arrogant, blasphemous words and authority to act for 42 months. And the beast opened its mouth to speak blasphemies against God and to slander his name and his tabernacle, those who dwell in heaven. Then the beast was permitted to wage war against the saints and to conquer them. And it was given authority over every tribe and people and tongue and nation. And all who dwell on earth will worship the beast. And all whose names have not been written from the foundation of the world in the book of life belonging to the Lamb who was slain. Ladies and gentlemen, these passages speak directly to the Hermetic claim of descent from a Prisca Theologia, which is a Hermetic doctrine which affirms that a single true theology exists which is present in all religions and was given by God to humankind in antiquity. For when a man finds this, he will have found the immutable proof of his authority and the authority to speak on behalf of every nation and every tongue, because he will have proved that he holds the immutable proof of God. And here it is in a nutshell. The proof that runs in all religions is that God is light, and the 42 months of authority is a code for the 42 degrees of visible light in our world. Now let us take a look at the second beast. Quote, "Then I saw another beast rising out of the earth. This beast had horns like a lamb, but spoke like a dragon. And the beast exercised all the authority of the first beast, as above so below, and caused the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose mortal wound had been healed." Now, look at all these two-horned lamb deities. These passages are telling you about men on earth who are able to attain the light of God, commonly called enlightenment. These men have activated their pineal, their horn of Ammon, their cerebrum, which is the ram horns, and or the clouds. These men have activated their minds. These men have become God men. Now, let's switch to the zodiacal point of view. Here you can best see the synchronistic interplay between the dragon and the lamb. Did you know that the dragon was sacred to Aries? Look at the solar chart and notice that Draco is directly due north while Aries is directly due east. It is this alignment every great year that brings back the newborn Christ. Here's an Egyptian version, that of Osiris as the rabbit cutting off the head of the snake Apopis by the tree of life. And here he is in a Greek version named Perseus with his magic sword, his winged white horse bursting through the clouds and carrying the wounded head, which is a metaphor for the conquering of his shadow side. And here's a Hindu version, that of Kalki, the 10th and final avatar of Vishnu, wielding his magic sword and riding the sacred white horse. And lastly, the second coming of Christ himself, wielding the sword of truth and riding the magic white horse through the clouds upon his return. Now that you have a more firm understanding of the preliminary information leading up to the number of the beast, we can move forward to discuss the number itself, which is found in Revelation 13:18, in which says, quote, "Here's a call for wisdom. Let the one who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and that number is 666, or in contemporary language, 666. Now, to decipher this passage and number, first we will note that the Greek word anthropos can be singular for human and plural for mankind. Now know that the letters numerically associated with 6, 60, and 600 in the Greek alphabet actually spell the word sex. And in Latin, the words six and sex are literally the exact same word. And for a better understanding of John's beast, let us read a Gnostic passage found within the text called On the Origin of the World, quote, "An androgynous human being was produced, whom the Greeks call Hermaphrodites, who is Hermes, and whose mother the Hebrews call Eve of life, namely the female instructor of life. Her offspring is the creature that is Lord." Afterwards, the authorities called it beast, so that it might lead astray their modeled creatures, which are humans. The interpretation of the beast is the instructor, for it was found to be the wisest of all beings. And later in the same text it says, quote, "Now the word that is superior to all beings was sent for this purpose alone, that he might proclaim the unknown. He said, there is nothing hidden that is not apparent, and what has not been recognized will be recognized." So, within the Gnostic text, we're given the clues that have been omitted from the book of Revelation. So, who or what is the beast? Well, in addition to the points of view we have already discussed, from the psychological point of view, it is your own unconscious mind. That is to say, ignorance. From the planetary point of view, it is both Saturn and Venus, who both exalt and revel in the age of Pisces, which is the age of hell. From the emotional point of view, it is sex, and in particular, unbridled lust, who is represented as the whore Babylon, which rides the beast. From the alphabetical point of view, the beast is the letter S, which looks like a snake, and extrapolated out, it is indeed the snake, for it was the snake in the garden who tempted Eve to commit the first sin of disobedience to God. And it is the snake that is most personified as wisdom. And finally, from the numerical point of view, the beast is the number 6 itself. And thinking back to my two previous presentations, 6 is the first perfect number, and in the Emerald Tablet of Thoth the Atlantean, 6 is properly called the key of light. Note that 6 is not the light, which is God, but the key to light. So in this light, let's explore a purely numerical point of view of this key of light. This journey will begin with twin primes, which are prime number pairs that have a gap of one number in between them. Take, for example, 3 and 5. These are twin primes because they have a gap of one number in between both primes. Now, in relation to the number 6, notice that in the sequence of twin primes, there is no number divisible by 6. However, If we take a closer look at what's hidden in between the twin primes, we find a sequence of numbers that is always divisible by 6. Now I have listed the first 28 twin prime pairs. Remember, 28 is the second perfect number. And notice that within the shadow of these 28 prime pairs, there is only one number sequence that expresses itself to its own order of 3, and that is 6, 60, and 600, which is totals to 666. Now let's go one step further. If we double the shadow number sequence, we can find the harmonic sequence, which includes such familiar esoteric numbers as 72, 144, 216, 360, 540, 864, and so on. So what does this mean? Well, it means that 1 and 6 are in perfect balance and harmony with one another, just as 2 and 5 are as well. Think back to the previous presentation where I explained that you are doing circular mathematics and you don't even know it. Just as 3 and 4 are as well. And finally, perfectly balanced in itself and within the space of 3 and 4 is pi. Now another thing to note is that twin primes are also highlighted in red, sexy primes, which is a pair of primes that are 6 numbers apart. And again, we find the unique property that 6, 60, and 600 are the only triplicate digit number sequence that is shadowed in between both twin primes and sexy primes. And as a final note on the relationship of 6 with primes, I have annotated a laundry list of observations and bullet points, some of which I believe have yet to be discovered. And there are many more. So let's summarize what we've learned so far. What is the dragon and first beast? It's the circumpolar constellations, Draco, Camelopardalis, Ursa Major, and Leo, that navigate you towards the North Star. What is the second beast? Man as an individual and mankind in totality. Who or what is the beast? Many things from many points of view, but most importantly, the number 6 or the letter S. What is the sword of truth? It is the truthful words that come forth from your mouth. These words contain the immutable proof of God. Remember what the Gnostics said, quote, "Now the word that is superior to all beings was sent for this purpose alone, that he might proclaim the unknown." He said, "There is nothing hidden that is not apparent, and what has not been recognized will be recognized." And finally, we can ask, who is Christ? And the answer is manifold, with the most direct answer being found, again, with the Gnostic text. Congratulations, Gnostics, which call him the true man, because he brings back the words of truth. And here are yet a few images of the final battle of good defeating evil upon the commencement of the great year. Fundamentally, these are all the exact same story, just told from various cultural perspectives. So let's wrap this presentation up with a game called If Then. And here we go. On the left of your slide, if you are looking for this 10-horned, 7-headed beast to rise out of the abyss, then I can unequivocally say that you are a delusional fool. However, on the right of your slide, if you are looking for a symbolic key to explain Revelation, then you are wise. And here is that key, being the Pythagorean tetractys. Can you see the hypercube? It is the same one that I see, although in front of my eyes it is always in a higher dimension. On the left of your slide, if you are looking for a physical man to come bursting out of the clouds, riding a magical flying horse and wielding a magic sword, then you are a fool. However, on the right of your slide, if you are searching for an internal process, otherwise known as enlightenment, then you are very wise. And again, if you are looking for this physical scene to physically manifest, then you are a fool. But if you are looking for an internal blossoming of consciousness, then you are very wise. And if you are looking for this version of the Messiah with a literal regurgitated sword protruding from his mouth, then you are a fool. However, on the right of your slide, if you are looking for this messenger, that being an imperfect man, yet who carries a perfect message, then you are wise. In fact, the message is what is important in this equation. It is the message that will save you. And finally, if you're one of these sodden lot of externalizing goobers, then you are not only a fool, but a damned one at that. However, on the right, if you are like this internalizing, insightful, deep thinking, wise man, then you are a true wizard and will certainly find enlightenment because this path leads directly to the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Please like, subscribe, and share your comments in the comments section.